This is my third game from 2013, which was from the EACU County Championships under 160. I was playing Paul Lawrence from Hertfordshire, and he was a 1-4-3. I played d4 as white, and he played knight f6, e3, g6, bishop d3, bishop g7, f4, d6. So I'm playing the stone wall against his King's Indian, which normally ends as black winning, as this isn't the right formation. Knight f3, castles, knight dd7, e5, e4, e5, c3. So we've got a bit of a battle in the centre now with my 3 pawns against his 1 pawn. This normally isn't good for the person with 3 pawns, because you're just going to end up with 2 pawns that you can't protect, or 1 pawn isolated or something. So he played c5, so he's starting to make a similar mistake to me. So I played f takes, he played d takes, and I played d5. So I am counting on endgame chances here to push my pawn forward and promote, because I've got a passed pawn. Passed pawns must be pushed, as the saying goes. He played c4, which so basically saying, take my c4 pawn and I'm going to take your e pawn, and then I am going to put all my pieces onto your undefended pawns. So I said no thank you and just retreated. So now he is the one with the weak pawn, so he's going to end up having to play b5 and maybe bishop b7, but even with bishop b7 his bishop is stuck, because my pawn, this pawn chain in the center, is, he can't stop it because he doesn't have any pawns on the c file or e file that can attack it. So he plays queen b6, king h1, rook e8, knight a3, queen c7. So he's defending his pawn. Queen e2, and now you can see the reason why he should have played b5 earlier. Now that he hasn't done it, I have got the advantage in the sense that he cannot play b5 to defend now. So that's why whenever someone attacks it, don't think I'm going to do it later because I've got plenty of time, because 1 or 2 moves later they might do a move and then you suddenly realise that, oh, I can't defend it anymore. So here he's been forced to play knight b6, and that means he cannot get 3 pieces to defend it because his b pawn stuck at the back. So bishop e3, attacking the knight, attack the defender, useful trick. Bishop g4, and now I decided to give up my bishop pair for a pawn, which when you do something like this you always need to calculate it, because 2 bishops against 2 knights is a lot better for the person with 2 bishops. It's almost a pawn up even, so you have to calculate this carefully. In this situation I had in fact 74 minutes while my opponent was down to 20 minutes, and considering this was a 90 minutes plus 20 minutes at 36 moves, it meant that he had used up already 70 minutes, which 70 minutes for 15 moves is just too much. So he needs to play a bit quicker next time. So he played a takes b6, which is probably a wrong move, because after that queen takes I played, and now he's got double pawns, and considering that I am a pawn up as well, that's pretty bad. If he had played queen takes, then after knight takes I'm attacking his e pawn, but that doesn't really matter because he's got a rook protecting it and so on. So that was a bad move. He obviously was counting on a dynamic position of the rook attacking the pawn, while I was going for a more static position. So I played queen takes, queen over, queen b5. So basically I'm just trying to swap off queens here, because the sooner I can do that the better, the less compensation he can get out of the position. So bishop takes f3, that's fine by me. He's now given up his bishop pair, which is actually, if you think about it, it's quite a clever tactic, because after that, rook takes f3. You may now notice that we've got opposite coloured bishops, and if he can carry this through to the endgame, he will be able to manage to draw. Sorry about that, my cam fell. So queen g4, he should have traded queens. Now that he's got the opposite colour bishops, he has to start trading, because as soon as he gets to the endgame, it's a draw. So declining the queen trade is a pretty poor decision. He was now down to 8 minutes, while I had just over an hour, 63 minutes. So queen d3, knight h5, rook af1, and knight f4. So he's got a couple of pieces in the attack, but he hasn't got enough. So queen d2, queen h5, and bishop b3. So my pieces, he may have a couple of pieces in the attack and one on an open file, but it comes to nothing in the end. Bishop h6, looking for a disclose, queen f2. So now, as you saw in the last game, I have once again taken to an open file, so I will be playing g3 very soon, and utilizing that. I quite like my open files. So he played bishop g5, and I played d6. So I'm looking, so this f7 pawn is the target. So before I make any decisions, I am going to start putting all my pressure on it and pinning it so that it can't move. So d6, rook a d8. So he's missing the plot a bit here, and he's going for the pawn. Unfortunately for him, he only had 1 minute here, and we've still got another 11 moves to go. So that's why, even in a standard game, you can't think for too long. So he's missing the plot, and he's thinking I'm trying to promote, when I'm not. It is a side effect that I'm going to be able to promote, but he's missed my real target. So the knight comes in as well. I was probably looking at just playing knight into c7, and also, why lose a pawn? Just play like this, because even if he pushes his rook forward, I'm still going to be able to win the pawn. So I don't really want to win the knight for 2 pawns, for example. I want to win it for free. So rook d7, g3, knight h3, and queen g2. And at this point, he lost on time, and he was 8 moves short of the time limit as well, which means he's a very long thinker. So here it's just completely lost, because I'm just going to win the f-pawn, whatever he does, really. Even if he plays something like rook f8, I can then just play rook takes, and even if he does rook takes, I can play rook takes, and now that the rook will be pinned, I can then just start pushing my pawns forward or something. Even g4 is going to be an option. Yeah, even in this position I can play g4 immediately. Queen will have to go to h6, and then I can just play rook takes knight, queen goes to g7, then I can play my rook back onto the f-file, and then he'll lose completely. So that was a very quick game, which I quite enjoyed because I used very little time. I was still on 49 minutes. Thanks to all of you for watching. My next game will be against Steve Lovell, which was a team match for my club. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.